My parents left me at my grandma's house when I was 7 and never came back. 20 years later, they're both fighting over who made me successful. My mom, Denise, dropped me off at my grandma Lorna's apartment on a Sunday afternoon 3 weeks after my 7th birthday. She told me she would be back before dinner. She didn't come back that night. She didn't come back the next day. Lorna called her 4 times that first week. On the 5th call, Denise picked up and said she needed space to figure some things out and that it would only be temporary. Temporary turned into 2 months. 2 months turned into a year. A year turned into Denise moving to another state with a man named Vince and not leaving a forwarding address. My dad, Gene, was already gone by then. He left when I was 3, moved to the next city, got remarried, had 2 more kids, and built an entire new family like the first one never happened. He sent birthday cards for 2 years, then he stopped. Lorna raised me on a retired teacher's pension and a part-time job shelving books at the public library. There were months where she had to choose between groceries and the electric bill, and she never once let me feel it. I got a full scholarship to college, graduated with honors, got hired at an architecture firm, and within 5 years I was leading my own project team. By 28, I had put a down payment on a house and paid off every cent of debt I had. Everything I built came from what Lorna gave me. When I was 26, Denise resurfaced. She found me online and sent a long message saying she had made mistakes and wanted to reconnect. She said leaving me with Lorna was the hardest decision she ever made, but she did it because Lorna could give me stability. She couldn't. I gave her a chance. We talked once a week for about 3 months, and every conversation eventually turned into Denise explaining why she left. Not apologizing, explaining. She started telling people she raised me with a strong foundation before sending me to live with my grandma so I could thrive in a calmer household. She told her coworkers she made the sacrifice so I could succeed. Around the same time, Gene came back. He heard through someone that I was doing well and suddenly wanted to grab lunch. At that lunch, he told me he always knew I'd make it because I had his work ethic. He said he may not have been around physically, but he gave me my drive through genetics. He said his side of the family were all hard workers, and that trait clearly passed down. He used the word bloodline like he was talking about a horse he bred and not a son he walked away from. For about a year, I kept both of them at a distance, but still in my life. Then I bought Lorna a house. A small 3-bedroom with a garden and a covered porch because she had been renting the same 2-bedroom apartment for almost 30 years, and I wanted her to finally have something that was hers. The week I gave her the keys, both of my parents lost their minds. Denise called and asked why I hadn't told her about the house first. She said she should have been there for the moment because she was the one who placed me with Lorna in the first place, and without that decision, none of this would have happened. Gene called 2 days later and said it was a generous move, but asked when I was planning to do something for him. He said Lorna already had a roof over her head and he had real expenses with his other kids, and if I was handing out houses, maybe I should start with the parent who gave him his talent and ambition. I invited both of them to Lorna's housewarming, separately. I told myself I was giving them one real chance to show up as decent people in a room that was about someone other than themselves. Denise arrived first. Within 20 minutes, she was telling Lorna's neighbor that she was the one who set everything in motion by making sure I grew up in the right home. Gene showed up an hour later, and within 10 minutes he was telling one of my coworkers that my success came from his side of the family. Then they ran into each other by the dining room table. Denise told Gene he had no right to be there because he never did a single thing for me. Gene told Denise she was delusional for taking credit when all she did was drop me off and disappear. They started arguing over who sacrificed more, not who gave more, who sacrificed more. Like abandoning a child was a contest they both wanted to win. Lorna was sitting in her new living room and she could hear every word. She stood up slowly and walked in. Denise's mouth closed mid-sentence. Gene took a step back like he'd been caught. Lorna held Denise's gaze until Denise looked away. Then she turned to Gene and held his. She didn't raise her voice. She never did. She